It is indeed sad to witness this distance growing. And many people are blaming feminism for that very narrative. I mean, Carlin, many are saying that feminism has become too radical and has been antagonizing men.
What is a woman?
What is a woman?
It's your mama.
That's right. Plain and simple.
You that confused? Let me come and watch it. I tell you, it's your mama. It sure ain't your daddy.
That's right. Go ahead.
President Biden joining in on the conversation. We didn't know what a woman. We didn't know what a woman is. A woman is your mama.
We live in a time now where it's well documented the growing chasm between young men being more conservative and young women being more liberal is advancing all around the world and being discussed. But just like water always seeks its own level, this conversation too will find its own equilibrium in the future.
Many are saying that feminism has become too radical and has been antagonizing men. It is really a shame, because what feminism is all about is equal opportunity for all, is for everyone to actually be treated the same way. Are you also observing this and this kind of false narrative around feminism?
Yes, unfortunately, the message of feminism has been very much blurred over the last decade. And one of that message is it's really important that we talk about masculinity with our children. And what I found was very fascinating is the American Perspective Survey released a data where they asked conservative men if it was important for them to identify as being masculine. And 55% said yes, masculinity was a wonderful thing. And then they asked liberal men the same question, and only 30% said it was important for them to identify as being masculine.
We now live in a world where the very definition of man and woman is being challenged, and there are grown men who are being openly called males as a way of disrespecting masculinity. And for guys growing up in this kind of environment, it can be very disorienting to have your masculinity questioned and to think that growing into your masculinity is something bad. But I can assure you, sooner or later, as a man, not only you, but our country, our world is going to need our masculinity.
Some men deliberately seek out women who will go 50-50 with them in their 20s in order to financially support their own goals and aspirations for the future, as a woman's contribution allows him to save on half of his living expenses.
And then you have feminism in between, trying to navigate what masculinity means and not really having a clear definition.
These same men will split bills with their starter wife or placeholder relationship, and then when they finally reach their financial peak, leave the starter wife and enter relationships with younger women who they can fully provide for and be in their masculine with.
So these young people, they view masculine, on one side they view masculinity as a positive thing, and on the other side they're kind of lukewarm about it. And the truth is, no one has a clear definition of what that means anymore.
To avoid being preyed upon by such men, practice hypergamy and date men who are older in age than you.
So for young men in these times that are having difficulty trying to define what a man is, I think Dr. Orion Taliban can define what a man is in 2024 in about the simplest terms possible.
How do I be a man? The way to be a man, fundamentally, is to have a spine and a pair of balls. And both things are important. And if you have those two things, then, in my opinion, you're a man, no matter what you look like or how you act. A man generally needs to have something that he stands for, because life is very, very difficult. In particular, the moment you stand up, you cast a shadow, which is a symbolic way of saying as soon as you stand for something, you will attract resistance to that something, no matter what it is you stand for.
Speaking to an acquaintance today, he revealed that for the last 7 to 8 months, he's gone monk mode, not because he hasn't been able to get the attention of young ladies, but because he was so disciplined that he had a goal, he focused on the goal, and he cut out everything else that was unnecessary for him to get to that goal. What can be more masculine than that? The control over yourself to accomplish a goal. For many young men that are fighting to understand what masculinity is, it is control over self, it is focus, it is desire to reach a goal, and more important than anything, it's being able to stand up as you are unabashedly and say, If you're not going to help me get to my goal, or if you're not with me, then move out of the way because I have somewhere to go. And that includes young women and dating more than anything.
I definitely agree with her. And I think it's also just a back to basics. And I think people don't fully understand what feminism is. And feminism now is confused with misandry, where now women just hate men, and then other women are thinking, oh, okay, this means that this is feminism, because if you hate men, it means you're for women. So this is basically what it is. And so
Celia is one of the TikTokers that I follow, and I like her message because she's so well balanced. And she's speaking here to the definition of feminism in 2024. What is it? Because if you look at social media now, it's basically men are bad, men have been bad for a very long time, and men need to do better. But there's no definition of doing better. And she speaks to the quandary that arises when we speak of true equality, which is a looming issue for feminism, and what sacrifice are women ready to make in order to round out the pie, if you will, of feminism to make it whole and make the country work.
a lot of people don't even ask themselves why feminism came up in the first place. And it was actually very interesting for me to read studies on why women were not allowed to vote back in the day. And one of the predictions was that if we're seeing men and women as equal sexes, it means that chivalry will die, because men will say, okay, if I can go to war, then you can go to war. So why should I be kinder to you? Why should I try to protect you if we're the same thing?
There's been a lot of talk over the internet for the past few days about Cam Newton's interview and his quote unquote peculiar, if not unorthodox, form of family building. And the same goes for Nick Cannon in Future, where some ladies are calling for other men to regulate their behavior when we cannot do anything about it, because if that woman is going into that bedroom voluntarily and she's carrying the child to term, what exactly can we do about it? But it's just shines a light on the fact that we're in an unregulated dating marketplace with basically little to no morals. And so when I saw this particular meme, I thought of one particular YouTuber, one of my favorites. A society that tells a broke man he's not worthy of a woman has no right to tell a man to stick to one woman once he's rich. As Bodhi from The Wire would say about women, is that if you get your act together,
they gonna come back. Yeah, way we just punked them, you got to.
If women say, ooh, the man with resources, I'm okay with being wife number 3. I know he's been divorced 3 times, 4 times. I'm okay with being wife number 4, wife number 5. I'm okay with being baby mama number 8. I'm okay with him being married and me being side chick number 3. If women are making that decision, why don't we respect that decision? And when I say respect that decision, respect their right to make that decision. You don't have to respect the decision. You don't even have to like it. I don't. They're making informed decisions, and it's gonna look ugly. The question then becomes, do women actually have a problem with being baby and mama number 8? And for some, no, absolutely not. And they'll choose that 9 out of 10 times for the lifestyle. Even if they can provide the lifestyle to themselves, you always gotta stress that. You always got to stress that.
I know I sound old when I say these kinds of things, but I remember a time where you went on a date and maybe you went to the movies, and afterward you'd go to maybe Burger King or Taco Bell, and you drop the young lady off at her doorstep maybe before 10:30, 11, and while you're driving, you put on a song like Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? And she'd hold your hand while you were driving. And we went from that to now you got to buy me a Birkin bag in order to be worthy of being in my presence. And it's a literal admission in order to be good enough, unless of course you meet the physical requirements, then we know it doesn't matter. And it's taken a lot of the romance out of it for a lot of guys. And so when young ladies say no 50-50 and you got to be the guy who's already arrived first, many guys have gotten kind of discouraged. But in this time where everyone's talking about Project 2025 and how it's going to change the whole country and everything, I think that for guys, you should be focused on your Project 2025, or dare I say, your Project 2026. Who's the guy you're going to be in 2025? What are you planning for? What are you studying for? What are your next moves? You don't have to announce it to everybody, But what you can do is cut off some of the people that aren't aligned with your vision and tell them, hey, like Ludacris say, move, get out the way. Because if you're not planning for 2026, then you're going to be in the same position where you're listening to these young ladies either A, complain about there not being any good men around, or B, watching those same women coalesce around the guys who figured it out and are willing to line up for their new 2026 Cam Newton. Because the writing's on the wall. We're not going back to the Leave It to Beaver, love in the high school, hold hands in the hallway love. We're going back to, if you got resources, you're going to be able to name the price for the young lady that's in front of you. And it's unfortunate and unromantic as it sounds, the guys planning for 2026 are planning in 2024 so they can win when they get there. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, catch you next video. Take care.